He's been a client of mine now for over a year. Major transformation here. So I'm gonna go and sit there with my computer and my questions, and I'm just gonna ask him questions. He'll answer them, and then if you guys have any questions for him, feel free to answer. And then I'll let him go because he's got to go do stuff, and we'll go over a few things about behavior change in addition to his part. Okay? So got him filmed. Okay. So no, you're fine. I'm gonna just scoot right here to the side so I can face him. Okay. So the first question is, what was the main reason why you came to work with a trainer? So way back, January, February of last year, what was your main drive to come up with a trainer?
I think one of the biggest things was about the way I felt. I had noticed as I transcended into my 30s that things started to change.
Oh, yeah.
I like how we're transcending to the 30s.
And now into my upper 30s, I'm going, oh yeah, some things have really changed, and my body's changing, and I hadn't felt good for, 3 or 4 months. I felt like garbage. A lot to do with my sinuses, but I think I knew that it was everything. I think I had peaked at my highest weight. And I had thought about for a long time, I want to get a personal trainer, but then it's thinking about like the finances, and then thinking about like, am I going to be judged? I mean, everything that you probably thought of when you started to decide whether you wanted to get help or not. I had lost weight on my own a couple of times, but again, as I started to get in my 30s, it was a lot harder to get that weight off. I had lost 70 pounds on my own in my 20s, like nothing. I just go out, dance in the clubs, and drink, and it all came off like nothing. I got down to a size 32, but I had I think an unhealthy expectation of myself. I was on the scale every day, looking at my body from every angle and every mirror. I work in retail. I've been in it for 18 years, and I'd just be in every mirror, constantly judging myself. What's that? What's this? And so I finally last year just had an epiphany. It's like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I know that I'm headed to being 40 soon. And so, I don't want to be an overweight 40-year-old. And of course it has, it has a lot to do with aesthetics too, because you're judged by the way you look. But for me at that point in time, it was more so about the way I felt, because I didn't feel good. And so I knew it was time to get help. And let's face it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing in the gym. Like, I was just on a treadmill and I thought I did good. I'm on a treadmill.
Walking.
I'm walking. And I think I'm doing well on a treadmill. I just knew that I needed help and motivation and the accountability of somebody else being beside me, and not somebody that's going to stroke my ego and say, oh, you're doing great on that treadmill for an hour, once a week or whatever it was. It's somebody to help teach me how to exercise, give me the tools that I need to eat correctly, and then the accountability piece as well to keep me on track.
Awesome. Okay, and so then when you started, did you actually do you feel you had a realistic idea of how unhealthy you allowed yourself to become, or do you feel like as you started exercising, it became more apparent at just how unhealthy you would let yourself become?
It's still becoming apparent every time. every time that I work out, it becomes more and more apparent of how unhealthy I was, and still where I need to go. I was telling Philip the other day that I didn't quite know how bad I felt until now, like reflecting on where I was versus where I am now. And I'm not just talking about physically, because I did feel bad physically. I was tired. I didn't want to do anything. I'm talking mentally. The mental strain that does to your mind is just so boggling to me, because I had no idea. I was making the excuses. I'm tired. I'm this. I'm that. All the things that you do to try to avoid eating well, to try to avoid fitness, to try to avoid I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, whatever it is. It doesn't even have to do with fitness, but it's a mental strain. And so today I feel 1,000% better than I did a year ago. I am allergic to the world. by the way. So I had never even taken the opportunity to go to the sinus doctor and find out, what's going on with me. But I know that because my mental state is a lot better, I'm starting to tackle other things now that I never have before. I'm starting to say yes to things that I never have before. And so I think in conjunction with coming to Philip and correcting some behaviors in my life, I feel 1,000% better for that because of working out. I can't wait to see what I'm going to be in a year because I didn't know what it felt like to really feel good.
Perfect. Did you feel that holding yourself accountable and preventing self-sabotage is a constant struggle, and is it something that you still struggle with?
Of course. It's a daily struggle because you can easily say, I don't want to do this or that, or I want to change my appointment, or I want to, I always wonder, I always ask myself the questions, even while I'm working out, why did I just stop and go get a drink of water? Am I trying to avoid doing another rep? I was trying. But seriously, I do ask myself those questions because I am very self-aware. So I'm not going to allow myself to get away with something, and I know what I'm doing now. But I think that has to do with having a better state of mind and understanding myself. And so yes, there's a lot of things still even that I battle with. This week even, I had given up Coke altogether. But because I was out of town, let's just have that Coke. Because I'm out of town, I'm eating with my boss at the table at Chili's, let's have a Coke instead of having water. It was just as easy to order the water just as the Coke, but I went with the Coke. It was Coke Zero, but it was still Coke. But yeah, there are a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors. Let me do this, I'm stressed out, so I'm going to have a Coke. Well, that doesn't really help. Caffeine actually induces stress.
That's
So,
that's my favorite response.
Yeah.
I stressed out, I need something.
It doesn't, but it actually, if you notice, really take a moment to notice what happens after you do that though. Some of those things will actually make you feel worse, and that's at the point where I know, okay, I'm sabotaging myself. So yes, I would say that it's a constant struggle, constant battle. You have to have positive self-talk all the time because you can easily talk yourself into a lot of things and then regret it later. Especially as you're working out, you'll have a pretty good workout. When I'm trying to lift that bar, I'm like, what did I do to myself?
Yeah, it's true. So what are some of the little things that you had to resist the most that you think have made the greatest impact over the course of the year? Because we talk a lot about sustainable little changes. So what do you think are the things that you had to adjust or maybe even say no to that were fairly small at the time, but then you think they made the most impact?
I compartmentalize, so I know what I'm able to adjust to. So I've taken small steps throughout the entire year. I'm still taking small steps, so I can't say that when I first came to Philip that I changed everything at once, because that's not what happened. I just wanted to get my butt moving. That's what I wanted to do first. So every little change for me was a very small step, and then I moved into another one. Most recently, I talked about, was really adjusting my behaviors with what I drink. And then, because I won't get rid of coffee, I need that to start my day. So Coke had to go. And there was one point in time where I thought, I could never do this. I'm not getting rid of Coke. Phil gave me a diet plan. I will not do that. I'll adjust other things. But I was finally at the point to where I was able to say, you know what, it's time to get rid of this, and time to think about how I'm going to change that behavior. And one of my things is I freak out if I don't have my water bottle there. I tell Philip about this all the time. I'm like, someone threw my water bottle away the other day at work. I was like, where's my water bottle? Why'd you throw it away? Because I know what happens if I don't have that visual. If I don't have that visual piece for myself, guess what I do? I go to the liquor store and I grab me a Coke. And I don't really miss Coke unless I see it. I don't really miss it. If I don't have I don't really miss it. As long as I have my water bottle, I can drink that all day. I'm fine.
And I will say though, even though not everything changed at once when he first started, the one thing that he always did, 100%, was he never missed a workout. Okay, so if you may not want to change everything at once, but the consistency with the workouts is crucial. Okay, and that's one thing that even though he didn't change everything at once, his workouts were always consistent. Okay. Next question: what sacrifices have you had to take to make in reaching your goal? And these can be professional sacrifices, personal sacrifices, time sacrifices, whatever.
Getting a car. That was one of the biggest things that last year was like, I want to get a new car in 2014. That in my head, I thought, do I want a new car that I would have a payment attached to because I had paid off 2 vehicles, or do I want a new and healthier body? Which one? Which one? So that was one of the, and right now I can tell you I don't have a car.
Yeah. It's all broken down.
It's broken down and it's in pieces, but that's okay. I'm not going to. I tell Philip, you're not gonna get rid of me. I'm not going anywhere. It's just sorry. There's. I will make shifts and changes in my budget to accommodate me being here because I understand where I was. And I understand I'm not ready today to go on my own and do things on my own, even though I've learned so much. I know where I'm at and I know what's going to happen if I stop coming. I need that accountability piece. I need Philip to talk to me about whatever he needs to talk to me while I'm doing my work. I need that partnership with somebody that so I pay for it, but then I've gained a friend of it. I think I gained a friend out of it in the process, but I need that person to tell me the truth, and he does that.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes I'm too honest. So then how did you fight discouragement? Because that's something I think everyone struggles with. What was your way of fighting discouragement, in your life?
before and after pictures. You get discouraged every day and you wonder, I think we all kind of have that body image issue where we look at ourselves and we say, what has changed? I don't know what's changed here. So I think it's the way your clothes fit. That's a big deal because you're not going to necessarily see staring back at you what you want to see every day. And not every day is a good day. Not every day is a good eating day. But whatever it is, but the way that I encourage myself is I ask people questions like, what do you see today that's different? And I'm not afraid to ask those questions. I know it sounds incredibly pompous, but I need to know because I need to hear it back, and I need to see it. So I'll do before and after pictures, which I have a couple here today for you guys to look at. But I have to see that. But I stay away from the scale altogether. The only time that I go on the scale is when he
Body
tells
fat
me to,
assessment, yeah.
and he sees me run by that scale because I will not get on there. Even as a doctor, I'm like, don't tell me because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So I think the way my clothes fit, and I think relishing in my choices, when there's a good choice made when it comes to eating, I'm happy about that. And I self-celebrate in my head. Yes.
You feel better about yourself.
I tried to make the banana pancakes. They were epic fail, but they were
Last question here is, how are you able, this is a big one I think, and this is I think one of the main excuses for a lot of people, and I think it's really good to learn this, but how are you able to maintain the consistency despite an environment that sometimes was chaotic, stressful, discouraging, and at times blatantly non-supportive of your goals?
You're going to need to repeat that.
Okay, sorry. How are you able to maintain consistency despite your environment at times being chaotic, stressful, discouraging, and blatantly non-supportive of your goals? Because let's face it, at times your environment is like that.
It is like that a lot, actually. Over the past
Coming in, I think.
Okay. I'm good.
over the past couple of months, it's been really tough. I have a lot going on, just like everybody does. I run the Skechers store here on Blackstone and Shaw. So at any given time, they're not very planful, and so I could be finding out that I'm going out of town on Friday. So there are times where I've been out of town, like Bakersfield or Modesto even, and come back to work out.
With a day notice, by the way.
Day notice. There's, I have 2 kids that I'm raising on my own with my partner. So I know and I live and breathe all the challenges every day. My
he's
household,
not unique. He's not
my
unique.
household is, a little bit chaotic. My job isn't always stress free, like any of, so my son has to go to baseball practice. My other son wants to go skating. My partner needs to go here or there, or there's stuff happening. I mean, there's always the constant challenge, but I always ask myself the question, am I willing to put my health on the line here? I need that outlet to keep me healthy and to keep me sane to be able to deal with the people around me sometimes, right? Because we know we can go crazy if we don't. So that's my outlet, and that's my gift to myself that just keeps on giving, because I know that if I don't continue to, that I'm going to go back to the way that I felt before. And I felt like crud. I still think about that all the time, and I do not want to go back to that place. So I reflect back on that, and that's what keeps me going. So despite what's happening around me, like I can make different changes to my schedule with Philip, but I don't, like it is very personal to me if I miss a workout. Like I am upset.
He's more upset than I am. He's like,
I am like tearing myself
I'm like,
up
after a
through the
year,
wall.
you
I'm
missed like
I'm
3
so sorry.
sessions, I think
Yeah.
you're okay. And he's like, I hate this.
No, I do. I hate it. Not just because of the cost factor, but you know, because that's an element, right? But it's more so because of I feel like that's a form of self-sabotage. If I don't make it there, I feel like that I'm sabotaging myself in some way because people do what they want to do. I say that to people all the time, so I have to ask myself that question back and hold up the mirror and say, are you not wanting to go today because of X, Y, Z? And I might be tired, but I will be there. And I will be there. Like, or I'll make a change to it if I have to. I don't even like that, to be honest. Like I had to make a change the other day because I was at work really late and just things got chaotic. I had a really big visit from corporate people, and I just said, you know what? Sometimes you do have to give yourself a break and say, you know what, I need to go and I need to change the schedule or whatever to have a quality workout. But I refuse. At least where I sit today, I refuse to miss a workout just because of that. And I know that I'm probably not gonna. Even if I do say, Philip, I can't come today, I'm probably not gonna do anything that day. And that's what really bothers me is I just need to do something. You know?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lucas. That was very helpful. Anybody have any questions for him? Anybody here? I mean, really, this is your time to use him as a resource. You know, he has a lot of good information.
Anything, I'm an open book.
You want to show him your before and after
Yeah.
pictures real quick, and then we'll get started on goal
So you
setting.
can swipe the 3 of them. No, to the left. Yeah, there's 3. See that stomach? Horrible.
And one of those pictures, he thought he looked awesome.
I thought I looked so hot there. I was gonna bust out of that jacket. That jacket was so tight. And that was
But
actually.
he was owning that room, though.
I didn't want to show up. The purple pants night, you'll see it. I did not want to show up that day to my brother's party. Actually, it looks like I feel good, and I probably do because of the drink in my hair. But I did. That was during the time where I felt horrible.
I have another question for you, Lucas, before you go. You know, did you struggle, and I'm trying to remember myself because it was a year ago, but did you feel at times in the beginning when you were working out like you were never going to get better at the workout? Like it was just always going to be difficult?
All the time. It was like, I want to say that it was minute to minute, but it was second to second, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was second to second. It was like, I don't
He would
think
count the minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I would count. I don't think I could do this next thing. And I would, you know, and I'd be so scared of what the next thing was going to be, but I was more scared to leave. So it was like, if he said burpees or squat jumps, sometimes I didn't know I was going to get through those.
How many sizes did you lose?
Do what?
How many sizes did you lose?
I'm in a size 34 now, so I started out probably, I was wearing clothes that were probably too small for me. So I was probably a size 40. I was wearing a 38, but I probably should have been a 40. And I was an extra.
It was a 38
I was
type.
wearing an extra large, but I probably should have been a double X. And now today I can fit in a medium. I'm at the top end of a medium though, at a size 34. So. And my body percentage changed too. I mean,
Quite a bit. Yeah, I think his highest, and because honestly, when he first came, the app that I used for body fats was different, and so I don't actually have the original. But
it was
I think it was some
27.
It was higher than that. I think it was actually in the early 30s, and then I think your latest one was like, I could look at it on my phone, but it's using that to record. But I think it was somewhere around like 17%. So it's gone down. I mean, yeah, over 10%, well over 10%.
I have a question for you. I noticed like a lot of people I know are obsessed with the scale. Just like obsessed with the number, obsessed with the scale. So when you first started working out, because I know you said you were obsessed with the scale for a while.
In my 20s, not this year, in my 20s.
Yeah, in your 20s. When you first started working out, what was it that started motivating you more? Your mental state or like noticing the small changes in your body? Or did it kind of happen simultaneously?
I think simultaneously. It was the small changes that I saw in my body and the way that I felt. And just too what I hung on to because I knew I was going to go on the scale. I knew that was not an option for me. I knew that wasn't going to be like my recognition there. Was just be able to get through the workout and learning things. Like I'd be at work showing people stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let me show you this workout. I was so excited about learning because, you know, sometimes when I'm there, Philip is showing me stuff that I've never seen before. Most of, I would say 95% of the stuff that I do, I have never seen before. I'm like, what is a deadlift? I have no idea what this is. You know?
And he's lifting
But-
over 100 pounds.
No,
now.
really, I
He's
don't
lifting
know.
150 pounds.
When I say that I was green coming to him, I was putting my life into his hands, basically, because I don't know any of this stuff at all. And I'm not an athletic person. So, at all.
Neither am I.
Seriously, like I don't know anything when it comes to being athletic, and so it was I had to hang on to the small changes in my body and make sure that I celebrated like the workouts and
So
stuff.
you
like
think
that.
the scale's like the devil?
I do. I mean,
Well, I think it's a false sense of. I think it's a false sense of reality.
I don't
for
think
a lot
for
of people.
everybody it is, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that happened to me that caused body image issues. So like the gay community, I'll just put that out there, was very, very brutal to me. You know, and even still, I'm considered overweight in my own community. At least that's the way I've been made to feel. And so because of that, I went through a transition in my 20s, and I lost 70 pounds. I was thin as a rail, and people, oh, you look like you have cancer. You look like you have the typical stuff.
Then you get made
so
fun
I
of. Then
wasn't
you get
good
made
enough.
fun of because you're
I wasn't
thin.
good
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough when I was overweight, and then all of a sudden I'm not good enough when I lost the weight. It's like, what? I'm so confused here. I don't understand. So I had to ditch all that stuff and say, I can't care about, honestly, about this scale because it's not telling me the truth.
And what other people think.
And
Oh, yeah,
I
you're
can't
dealing with
care
your
about what other people
insecurities
think
and
because
not
I'm
your
never
own.
going to be
Everybody-
what everybody wants me to be.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it really shouldn't matter anyway.
And it doesn't matter now, but to me, when you're in your 20s,
Right.
you want to look good, you want to, and so that's what I cared about more than feeling good was like, I want to look good, I want everybody to look at me, and the scale, I stay away from it because of that.
Did you struggle with like emotional eating and like how did you change that piece?
You gotta compartmentalize. For me, everything is
Change one
it's
thing at a
small,
time.
like
Yeah.
one thing at a time, because, yes, I
Is
said
that
We'll
just the
talk about that
self-talk?
today, too.
Is that like what helped you get through those type of things or?
positive self-talk, and I think changing one thing at a time for me helped me adjust better and faster. Because to me, if everything is happening at once, I know that I'm gonna slip somewhere, and so I have to change one little thing at a time. That way, I'm able to deal with it and kind of come up with ways to adjust it. Like I'll go back to water. I thought to myself a year ago, like I can't drink water all the time. There's no way. Well, why can't I? It's good for you. And I can't get rid of my Coke because when I'm stressed out, I need a Coke. I need to have 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 cans a day, And but like just having small little things that might be different for everybody, but having that visual for me and having food at work that's going to be good for me to eat, or if I'm on the way to go eat at lunch because I didn't bring my lunch, it's like, okay, so what can I do today that's going to be better for me? I'll go to Trader Joe's instead of Taco Bell or McDonald's.
And it's still not homemade, but it's healthier. It's making a better option. And I think what we're really getting down to here is that, because Lucas didn't have this when he started, by the way. Like, the product that I give you guys now is way better than what he got, okay? I mean, he's stuck with me through business changes and stuff, but he made a behavior change program completely on his own. And we're going to talk about that today, about how to get us going into a behavior change program. We went over it 2 weeks ago, but I think we need to go over it again. But that, having the water bottle, that is a technique. Okay, that is a technique to remind yourself to stay on track. That is a technique to avoid hitting a trigger or a barrier. Okay, he didn't know that's what it was, but that's what it is. Having a visual, if he's a visual person, that is a technique.
Starbucks was hard for me too, by the way. That was a big
Yeah,
one.
and
His-
Starbucks
when
is
he
not
put
healthy either.
in my
People tell me
meal
that.
plan, he says you gotta get rid of coffee. I'm like, he's crazy.
I did not say. I did not
There's
say.
no way that
I
can
did not
do
say I
that.
need to get rid of coffee. I
No,
said
I
you
know.
need to not. You need to get rid of your frappa latte.
True.
Apple latte, you can
It has
have once a
400
month.
calories.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. So.
We drink ours.
So from there, that's going to segue perfectly into what we're going to talk about next. And Lucas, you can stay
Right.
there depending on what you need.
I had a question.
Okay.
Oh, go for it.
I know we talked about appearance and food and how you change, but did you feel that as your workout increased that you had more positive thoughts? Like
110%. Or 150,000%. Like everything is more positive.
Being heavy makes you negative, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Being unhealthy, I think, makes you negative.
It does. I think because you don't feel good, so automatically what comes out of your mouth is very different than when you feel good. And I still catch myself doing it today. But I think that you have to interrupt those thoughts.
And it's funny because he does interrupt them like mid-thought.
I will.
He'll be telling me something and be like, why am I saying that?
Why am I saying that, or what is the trigger behind that? But, I think you have to interrupt yourself and interrupt those thoughts with something positive. And life is not always going to be easy. We hear that all the time, right? It's not easy, but we just got to keep going. And I think that my middle process has been so much different. Like I've seen so many changes. Like even my work life, I've always been great at what I do, but I feel like I think I've
better.
it's even been even better there as well. My thought process is better. My mind is a lot more clear. It's a lot more positive. And for me, it's almost tangible because it's not just the outer change of my body, but it's in my mind. Like everything is it's so much more clear to me. And like I don't dread things the way that how you sometimes you just wake up and you're like, God, I had a long day. Like this week has been so crazy for me. But every moment I just think like, okay, I gotta go here, I gotta do this. My day starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm taking somebody to work. I'm going 3 different ways. We're dropping kids off at school. I gotta be out of town. Like I gotta figure out how people are gonna get to work and all this and that. And I still persevered and made it through. Where before I would have just dreaded all week long and made poor choices, throughout the week, whether it be eating or whatever. And I didn't do that this week, and a lot of other weeks because I have a better sense of a healthier mind, if you will.
Well, one more question.
What's that?
I know that it's more personal, but what were your triggers? What do you feel that were your triggers?
I think I know stress was a trigger for him big time. Stress and time management, I think, was a big trigger for him.
Yeah, and I love to eat like everybody else does.
Coke's more the Coke.
I make a lot of, that's one thing that's fun to do. Go out to eat, go do this, go do that. But I think it goes back to me when I was a child, and thinking that I had to have to clear my plate. That was a big thing in our household where.
Don't tell your kids that, by the way. Clear your plate. Every obese client I've had has been told that growing up. It is the worst thing to tell your kid. Clear your plate. Like that, they are going to have weight problems. Okay, I can tell you from 4 years' experience, they will.
It's so true. Like for me, that was you have to clear your plate before you leave because there's people out there, and I think it's true. There are people out there that don't have food.
But here's a portion size that's too big.
Yeah, maybe
now you have
that's
to finish it.
So. Even today, I still feel like I have to finish a plate. Otherwise, I feel guilty because of that. So
we've been conditioned to I know if you go out to eat fast food, do you notice how you feel like you have to have the soda and the fries, otherwise you're not getting a full meal?
Yeah.
That's marketing right there. Like you've just been conditioned to think that that's a full meal when the burger is really all you need. But we think if we're not getting our fries and our soda, that don't get our fries and our soda, like we're not having a full meal, And so that goes back to if you're telling your kid they finish their plate. First of all, look at the portion you're giving them and think, is that really a portion size that a kid should be able to finish? And secondly, what am I conditioning my kid to think? What am I telling them that they have to think, that they have to always finish what's on their plate? If they're full, they shouldn't have to finish their food. If they're full, they're full. That's done. They need to learn to listen to their body signals, and they need to learn to self-regulate because they're not always going to have you there to tell them, okay, now you're done. So teaching them self-regulation skills is really important.
I think there's a problem that you need to identify early. I think my parents probably didn't know what to do, but I think you need to identify it early. Like my son overeats sometimes and overindulges, and I think you have to find a way to help that along without saying giving them body image issues, because I see a lot of me in him, and he sometimes will overindulge, and that's what it created in me is overindulging. And honestly, I knew nothing was wrong because you're just a big guy. Like you're just big, and everybody just says big bones.
You've always been that way, yeah.
All these things, you've always been that way. But what happened to me was that I got an argument with somebody, and this is what triggered some stuff in my 20s. Is I got an argument with somebody, and they called me a fat ass MFer, and I was like, me? I'm not. I had no idea. Because no one was honest with me. And I don't need to say that I'm big, but I think what you have to do is make healthier choices. And it was like one of those moments in time where everything freezes and everything around you is not moving. It's like, wait, I didn't even realize that what I'd done myself. So.
Thank you so much, Lucas.
All right, folks, I'm out of here. If you guys need a great pair of shoes, Skechers, I can get you 50% off.
Yeah,
I'm
you
taking
got
50% off.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
I love it. I
Oh my
love
goodness.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go over some stuff we went over 2 weeks ago because we have a lot of new people, and I don't think it really sunk in last time we went over it. And so I'm gonna go over some things and kind of go into more detail. I'm gonna turn this towards me so that it's not just the wall. Just go over some things that I think are important because ultimately what we're doing with this program is a behavior change program. Okay, it's an 8-week behavior change program. That being said, you are not going to see a dramatic shift in yourself in 8 weeks. 8 weeks is like a blink of an eye. I mean, literally, it's a blink of an eye, especially if you've had a lifetime or over 5 to 10 years of being unhealthy. 8 weeks is like nothing. So what we're trying to do is get you in good habits, okay? And you'll see some changes, but those habits will hopefully sustain themselves past the 8 weeks. And obviously it's my goal that you guys will all want to join either a group training program or a one-on-one program with me after you're done. But even if you didn't, I want you to be able to at least have some good habits that you've developed, okay? So that ultimately starts with an overall goal, okay? I'd like to go around the room and I'd like to talk about our goals, okay? And just say your name, say how long you've trained, and say, what your goal is. It doesn't have to be a SMART goal. It doesn't have to be the SMART principle yet. We'll get into that. But just kind of be honest with the group about your goals, and I'll start it off. I'm Philip. I've exercised since I was 14 years old, okay? I'm actually younger than that because I did Taekwondo with my mom when I was like 12 in my living room, okay? Because I have major body image issues. So, and I've always been skinny, and I don't like being skinny. So one of my goals is to put on about 5 to 10 pounds of muscle within the next year to 2 years. Okay, I know it sounds like a long time, but it takes me a long time to actually put on like muscle mass. Okay, let's start with you next, Cynthia.
My name's Cynthia, and next Monday will be the start of my 4th week.
Right, yeah.
consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of my goals is to just be more active. Like when I'm active, I have a better positive, like he said, my mental, if I don't exercise, my mental is just gone. Like I'm depressed, and so I just want to be happier and healthier and lose the 20 pounds at least to start with that I gained over last year's time frame.
Okay, great. What you, Jessica?
Jessica, working out 4 weeks as of Monday. Listen, I have like 6 million goals, but I guess one of my SMART goals is to stop eating out so much because I literally eat out dinner maybe 6 days a week, 5 days a week, because it's just like work, college, blah blah blah. But trying because I love cooking. Cooking is fun, and I cook nice food. Like I'm not like an amazing chef, but I enjoy what I eat, what I cook. So I would like to cook more again, which I've kind of stopped doing, and stop grocery shopping, and I just need to start doing that stuff again.
Perfect. All right.
Hi, my name is Lupe, and my goal is to log my food and realize the things that I'm eating and make those changes. Although I've already cut a lot of like the sugar, but still, sugar is like my main point because I will grab like chocolate or gummy something or so I have to reach out, and I'm glad that they that the point of having that visual is very good because I thought yesterday I didn't have my tea with no sugar in front of me, and I actually wanted a candy, and I went and made myself another tea, and that helped me to curb that. So I'm glad that was brought up.
Perfect.
Hi, my name's Giselle. I've been working out. On Monday, it's gonna be my 12th week. I guess.
No, it'll be your 10th week.
Is it?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
10th week.
Oh yeah.
That's okay though.
Yeah, it feels like 12.
It will be 12 weeks here in 2 more.
Yeah. I don't know. I think to just like continue like trying to eat, like make healthier decisions and eating, and like remind myself that I have to eat instead of like skipping meals and like thinking that's okay. I need to remind myself to eat so that I don't like later like in the week I don't go crazy and start like eating more because I didn't eat for like 3 days. So.
Hi,
time done it. I think it's about 5 months in.
Mm-hmm.
Time management's probably my biggest issue. So I need to work on time management so I make better decisions and don't give myself the excuse to stop at the burger joint on my own.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm Jerica. I think I'm at 10 weeks. My biggest goal is to eat healthier things regularly, like the whole eating every 2 hours kind of thing.
Yeah.
And drinking more water, really. Focusing on not drinking soda, because I would have 1 or 2 I mean, I was like, it's Diet Coke, it's okay. But I would have like 2 at least a day. And so I've been cutting that out.
Right.
My name's Cole. I'm also at 10 weeks. I guess probably my biggest goal
Not quite that long.
is
Okay.
It's been 2 months.
Not, you haven't gotten through your second month yet. You got through
Oh.
your first. You're in your second month.
We're at like week 6.
You're at week starting week 7. That's okay.
Are we really?
Oh,
Yeah, I know, right?
It feels like longer.
It does feel longer, but not in a bad way. In a
No.
good way. Okay, go ahead, Cole.
I
Sorry.
guess we're at like week 6.
I don't even know.
I guess probably my biggest goal is just to feel comfortable. I mean, I guess like there's times like, you know, probably the biggest issue for me is sitting down in a certain chair and I'm like, I don't want to be here.
I'm sorry that I have small chairs.
No, this is fine.
Okay. But just to not to call it out, but he's already lost 70 pounds, by the way, on his
Wow.
own, before he even saw me. So he's on a good track. He's on a good track. All right.
I'm Ashley.
You name tags, man.
Alright.
Like AA.
Apparently we're on week 5 or 6, and my goal is water intake and eating consistently because, like Giselle, I often forget to eat and then I binge.
Yeah.
So much binging. Usually, we have ice cream.
Or like 45 pounds of cookie dough.
$45.
$45.
It's only like 3 pounds of cookie
It's
dough.
only
Oh, only 3 pounds.
Okay, I'm Barbara, and been working out with Philip for a week, but we've actually been working out for 13 months. And I think my goal is to just learn what works for my body, and I've seen so much change with the muscle and everything. But my goal is to really be under 200 and have a BMI of about 30
Okay.
within the next probably 4 months.
Okay, great.
And I'm Valerie, and been working out for a week with
About a
you,
week,
but
yeah.
also 2 of us have been working out for 13 months. And for me, it's just maintaining. I went through divorce about 4 years ago, and now it's a change of everything I do. I have 4 boys, but they're out of the house. So now it's focusing on me and trying to do things that are better for myself.
I love that. That's a really good one.
I'm Megan, and I just finished my 2nd week, and I guess kind of like what Lucas was saying, like I want this to be the last time I lose this weight.
Right.
So I'm changing my life and exercise because I've done the same thing, lost a lot of weight, gained it back, lost a lot of weight, gained it back, and here I am. It's like the 3rd time I'm having to lose the same weight.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just really got to make life changes now.
Perfect.
So.
I love that. Do you need to go?
I do.
Okay.
I'm really
Let me.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Like I said, that's why I'm filming it. So
Okay. Yes.
it'll be on the
Thank
website.
you.
Of course.
Okay.
I'll see you later. I'll see you on Monday. Okay. So from here, I really liked some of the goals I heard. I think they're great goals, but you do want to make sure that whenever you're setting a goal, that it is a SMART goal. So what that means is that it's specific, it's measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time specific. Okay. Now it sounds like when I say that, I know it sounds like that's kind of like a waste of time to make it in that format. It's really not, because if you can make it in that format, essentially you're setting yourself up for success. It's like if you don't set your goal in that form, it would be like going to run a marathon and putting on your 6-inch stilettos. Okay, you're probably not going to run the marathon. Okay, you're not going to finish. But if you put on your running shoes, you're going to finish. You're setting yourself up with the right tools, the tools for success. And it's a way to not self-sabotage either. If you can set a goal properly and write it down and keep it in the SMART format and keep it somewhere that you see it every day, that's a form of setting yourself up for success. If you're not doing that, it could be a form of inadvertent self-sabotage. Okay, and I do say inadvertent because I don't think any of us intentionally try to sabotage ourselves. Sometimes that happens, but I don't think in this case it's intentional. so you want to make sure too, once you have that goal, that it's somewhere visual that you can see pretty much every day. Because you want to have a constant reminder. It's so easy to forget about a goal.
Bathroom mirror.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because it's so easy to forget about a goal if you're not seeing it every day. So it's really, really important. And then also too, I think the difference between this second time doing this program and the first time around is that I'm not trying to make the world move in 8 weeks anymore. I think the first time around, my expectation was way too high of myself, which is a theme you're going to see in my life. I really just want you guys to make some small changes that over time are going to make a big difference. Okay, even if nothing happens in 8 weeks, if you can make some changes that are long lasting, that if you do over a certain amount of time will make a big difference, that'd be a lot for me. Okay, that would make me happy. Because like Lucas was saying, it's easier to compartmentalize than it is to try and change the entire world at once. Okay, I'm an all or nothing kind of person, so I tend to do either all or nothing. But not everybody's like that. So if compartmentalizing is the best way for you, then I would say to do that. You know, a lot of my clients have been very successful, have compartmentalized. So I think that just is kind of the way of success, more so than trying to do everything at once. Next, so, you know, I want each week you guys to do something that is working towards creating a behavior change program, okay? Behavior change programs they were actually first, you know, kind of created to help people stop smoking and doing drugs and drinking alcohol. That's where they started. And what we're finding is that giving up junk food, exercising, getting proper sleep is almost just as difficult as, you know, quitting smoking, because these are things these are behavior patterns, these are psychologically thought patterns that are like ingrained in us that we can't get rid of. So that's why a behavior change program is so effective, okay? And so you really, what they tend to have you do is they tend to have you treat it as if, you know, you're fixing a problem behavior. Because believe it or not, food isn't your problem, a lack of exercise isn't your problem, it's the behaviors that are getting you to that place that are usually the problem. So I want you to start this coming up week, and I want everybody to do this. I'm going to have it due, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, so you'll have a full 7 days. I'd like you to identify a problem behavior that you do. It's going to be different for everybody, and I'm not going to criticize your problem behavior, even if I think you should be working on something else. I don't care. Whatever you feel like you want to work on, we'll work on that, okay? I want you to identify that, and I want you to clearly define it so that there's no anonymity or vagueness, okay? So you really want it to be as specific as you possibly can make it. Can you turn that? I don't think it's quite on me. I think it's getting the TV. There you go. Thank you, Lupe. So once we have it identified, I'd like you to write it down, you know, on a piece of paper somewhere. Okay, I want you to keep a file on your computer or a file on your phone that's, you know, your behavior change file. You have all your written stuff on it. Once you've identified it, then I want you to observe yourself for this week. So try and have it identified by Monday. That way you have 7 days to observe, okay? It's a pain in the ass to observe and to journal and to do all that crap. I know it's a pain in the ass. It really does work though. So I need you to look at your behavior. Every time you identify that behavior, I really want you to take a note, written note, of what's going on in your environment, what are the emotions that are going on in your head, and what's the emotion of the situation, what are your thoughts, what are your feelings, and I want you to just observe that and take a note of it and write it down somewhere. That way at the end of a week you can look and you'll see patterns. You will really see patterns of when you're engaging in problem behavior. Your behavior is not as erratic as you'd like to think it is. It's pretty consistent actually. So that's the first homework, is getting that problem identified and getting your observation done. Normally we would do 2 weeks, but because we only have 8 weeks, I want you to do it just in 1 week, the observing, okay? And then the last thing I'll leave you guys with is I just really want you guys to make an emotional connection to your goal. I was listening to Jillian Michaels last night, and she's one of my favorite people. And she was saying that everybody has so many things that will hold them back from what they're doing, so many barriers and triggers, and they can be anything from I'm scared of success to I'm scared of failure to my whole family's heavy and I don't want to be the only thin one, to, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, to, you know, I'm an emotional wreck because I've had shit happen in my life. It could be a number of things, but once you make that emotional connection to your goal and you really understand, you have a strong why component, everything else kind of doesn't matter, okay? Because essentially you're putting your goal at the utmost importance in your life. And you're saying, okay, no matter what else has happened, I know that this is like the most important thing for me right now. And I don't care if I'm scared of being the only thin person in my family. I don't care if I'm afraid of failure. I need to hold the goal to a higher standard and hold myself to a higher standard. And if I fail, I fail, but I'm at least going to try, okay? So I really want you to really think about your why, and this might actually help if you write this down too, with your problem behavior and your goal. Think about your why and why you're doing things, because you have a reason why you want to fix your behavior, and they're probably really good reasons, but they have to be of emotional importance to you. You know, and that's why they say you can't do this for other people. You really cannot. You have to do this for yourself, because you are not going to care as much about other people as you care about yourself, deep down. Okay, people do sometimes, you know, physically care about other people more than themselves, or they take care of other people more than themselves, but it's not because they don't care about themselves, they're just trying to deflect. So I think it's really important that we get emotionally connected, okay? And we really, you know, don't allow ourselves to put our goal at the bottom, okay? Do we have any questions, you guys? Any questions at all? I'm gonna put this video online on my website so you guys can watch it later. I can also email you these notes so that you guys have it in your possession, and it'll make it easier for you guys to get your stuff done and start observing and doing the problem behavior. Okay. And then if you guys ever need anything during the week, if you're ever struggling with shit or having trouble or feeling tempted, like, I mean, that's why I'm here. So you can text me anytime with almost any question. The clients who do the best are the clients who utilize me the best. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks.
Yeah, Cameron will be here. So.
I know, Garrett liked it too. Garrett, the biggest tattoos that you always say.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. He's like, I was talking to him
That's
today.
what we do.